Hello dear viewers, welcome to the world of Horilla. Today let's explore the attendance module of Horilla. The Horilla software actually provides a very efficient and effective attendance module where you can manage attendance very easily without any effort. So here in the attendance module you have the check-in, check-out features and plus more. So let's get into the module and see how to manage the attendance and what else the attendance module provides us. So now let's take a look at the attendance module of Horilla. So if you just take a look at the left side of the screen, you have different modules here. So over there you have attendance, click on attendance, and once you do that, it will expand to attendance, our account, attendance activity, late come early out, and also my attendance. So first let's go through attendance. So once you click that, this is the interface which you get, okay? It is actually divided into three, okay? You have three different sections, which is validate attendances, OT attendances, and validated attendances. Okay, so this validate attendance are the attendance which are to be validated. So if you just scroll, you can see validate over here. Okay, so these attendances has to be validated, and once you do that, those attendances, that is the validated ones, can be found under the validated attendance section. Okay, so other than this validate and validated attendance, you have OT attendances, which is the overtime attendances. So this overtime can be found under this section, and you also have an option to approve it. That is, the admin can approve it. So currently I have logged in as admin. That's why I have this approve as well as the validate button. Okay. So from here you can approve the overtime attendances and all. Okay. So all the overtimes and all can be found here. So these are the three sections. Okay. So we'll go through each field. Before that, let me show you how to add attendances. So basically there are two methods in adding attendances. One is you have this plus icon over here, which is to create. So you can manually create an attendance from here. Okay, so you can manually create one. I'm clicking on create and such a window appears. Now here you can choose the employee. So at a time you can, add attendance for more than one employee. That is as a bulk attendance. Okay, bulk attendances can be added. So currently I'm choosing Abigail Lee. And you can choose the shift of that person. I'm choosing regular shift, work from office, and the attendance date. So I'm giving it as today. And the minimum hour to be worked, I'm putting it as 8. Check-in date is also today. In time, I'm putting it as 8:30. And the out time, same date, and I'm giving it as 5:30. And what is the at work hours? So I'm giving it as 8, and the overtime I'm giving it as 15 minutes, right? 15. Okay. So if it's validated, you can simply check it from here. So I'm not checking it. Add attendance. Okay. So an attendance is added. Here you can see Abigail Lee is added. Okay, so this is one method. If you just take a look, here you have the validate button. So if you have, once we were creating, you had a checkbox there, right? If you checked it, what happens is that it will directly enter into validated address. I'll show that one as well. So here I'm adding someone else. So let's add Alexander Kim. So I'm choosing a shift for that person, work type. Attendance date, I'm adding today. Minimum hours, let's say 8. Today, putting the time as 8:30. Checkout date also, I'm mentioning just today's date and providing the date as 5:30. At work, putting it as 8 hours and 15 minutes. So here you have the checkbox called validated. Check it and click on add attendance. So you can see attendance added. Okay, a message has come. Now if you just take a look at validated attendance, you have Alexander Kim. So this is automatically validated as we check the checkbox. So that is one method of adding the attendance through the create button. We have one more method, which is the check-in, check-out method. Okay, so on the top of this module, you can see a button called check-in. So simply click on check-in. Okay, so once you do that, just refresh your page. Okay. So here you can see Adam B. He is checked in, and you have the clock in time, which is as 2:58 p.m. You can see the day, the date, and the in date, which is the check-in date, and you have the clock out as none, which is the checkout. We have not yet checked out. So once you do that, that time will be recorded and marked here. Okay. So currently we didn't check out. That's the reason why it shows none. So the out date is also none. And you can see the shift, the work type, the minimum hour at work, and also the overtime. So those things are still blank because we are still not checked out. Okay. So that's what it is. Now, if you simply click on validate, you can find it under the validated attendance. So here you have the validated attendance. So once you're done, what you have to do, check out and leave. Okay. So that checkout time will be recorded here. Okay. And this none will change into that particular time. So that's the attendances. So here you have the OT attendance. Okay. OT attendance is nothing but the overtime attendance. So here also you can simply click on create button and let's add a person. So I'll add Abigail Lee and let's add a shift type. So I'm putting it as a regular shift, work from office, and let's add the attendance date as today. Or we'll do one thing, we'll add it as yesterday's date. And the minimum hour of working is 8 hours. Check-in date, I'm putting it as yesterday's date itself. And the time on which he has checked in is 8:30. The checkout time, I'm putting it as today's date. Okay. So at work, I'm putting it as 10 hours. Some random hours I'm giving, and here I'm putting the overtime as 2 hours. And I'm adding attendance. So the attendance is added. Now, if you just take a look over here, let's refresh the page. Just take a look. The validate attendance. Okay, so here's the validate attendance. You can see. Okay, Abigail Lee. So he has clocked in today morning and he has checked out. Clocked in yesterday morning and checked out in today morning. Okay, so you can see the regular shift, time at work, and the overtime, everything is come here. Okay, so once you validate it, if you go to the OT attendances, you have that person's overtime attendance over here. Okay, you can simply approve it from here. Okay, so what happens? That particular attendance, that is the overtime attendance, has been approved. If you just go to the settings over here, you have the attendance breakpoint. Open that and I'm going to click on edit. Okay, so we have already we have already set an attendance condition. So I'm going to create a new one. So if you just take a look, you can see do not auto validate attendance if an employee works more than this amount of duration. So if I'm putting the duration as 5, okay. So as you can see, do not auto validate attendance if an employee works more than this amount of duration. If an employee works more than 5 hours, then it should not be auto validated. Okay. If an employee works more than 5 hours, that is the 5 hours is the condition which I have given here. So if the employee does not, works more than, or if he works more than the provided hours or that duration, then it should not be auto validated. Okay, and the minimum hour to approve overtime. So minimum there should be 15 minutes for approving the overtime. If it's 10 minutes or not, it will get rejected automatically. So you can set what is the minimum hours to approve overtime. Okay, and also the minimum allowed overtime per day. So per day, what is the minimum allowed overtime? That also can be set from here. So it's simple. you have to go to the settings, and then you have the attendance breakpoint. So from there, you can simply, make changes. That is, click on edit, and then you can, make the changes over there. So that's the attendance, the overtime attendance. Okay. So just let's go to the attendance module. Now then, under the attendance, that is the overtime attendance is done. Okay. So let's take the attendance breakpoint, edit this one, and I'm putting this as minimum hours to approve overtime. 10. Okay. I'm saving the changes. So after changing, let's go and add. Let's edit it. And the overtime, I'm putting it as 10 and saving it. So you can see attendance is updated. The overtime is 10. So if I simply click on approve, that is gone from there. And if you just take a look at the validated attendance. Okay, now let's go to the OT attendances. Under the OT attendance, as you can see, you have the overtime which is recorded or which is provided while we are generating or creating the attendance. Okay, so let me go to the settings, and here we have attendance breakpoint. Opening that. And under that, we have the option to set conditions. Okay, so here I am going to edit the condition which is already set. Okay, so click on edit, and here I'm going to change the maximum allowed overtime per day. This is actually a presetted condition. I'm going to make small edits in it. Okay, so here I'm going to set a maximum allowed overtime per day. That is, once I provide the maximum overtime per day. So let's see what happens when the overtime exceeds this limit. Okay, so I'm providing 1 hour 15 minutes and saving the changes. So I'm setting a condition as there should only be that is, the maximum overtime should be 1 hour 15 minutes. Nothing more than that will be accepted. Okay, so as you can see, the OT cutoff per day has changed to 1 hour 15 minutes. So I'm going back to attendance, and as you have all the attendances here, you can see the validate attendances here. Okay, so let's create a new one. Going to click on create and create a new attendance. So here I'm going to choose an employee. So let's choose someone from the list. So I'll choose who. Okay, let's choose Elizabeth. Okay, now let's provide the shift. So I'm choosing the shift from here, which is regular shift. Work type, I'm choosing work from office. Attendance date, I'm setting it as today and providing the minimum hour. So I'm putting the minimum working hours as 8 hours, and the check-in date, setting it as today. Checking time, putting it as 8:30. Then you have the checkout date also, I'm setting it to today, and out time I'll set to 7:30. Okay, and at work I'll put 8 hours, and here I'm providing overtime as 2 hours. So as per our conditions, the overtime above 115 will not be accepted. Okay, only 115 will be taken. So I'm clicking on add attendance. Okay, so as you can see, attendance added, that message has come. Now if you just take a look at Elizabeth Smith's data there. Okay, as you can see, under the overtime, you have only 1 hour 15 minutes. Even though I provided 2 hours, only 1 hour 15 minutes is taken. Why did this happen? This happened because we provided the maximum time, okay, the maximum overtime limit as 1 hour 15 minutes. Only that much time will be recorded, and once it exceeds that, extra time will be ignored, and only 1 hour 15 minutes will be taken as the overtime. Okay, so that's how we do the overtime maximum limits and all. Okay, so automatically based on what you enter, the overtime will be recorded. Okay, now let's go to settings. We have one more thing there. Open the settings. Okay, let's open it. And there we have the attendance breakpoint. I'm opening the attendance breakpoint once again. And we have another option, which is minimum hours to approve overtime. Okay, so for auto approval, we are going to set a minimum hour. So if the minimum hours is this much, then what happens? It will get approved. Okay, so I'm putting it as 1 hour. Okay, so editing it and changing it. Let's put it to 1 hour. Okay, so I'm editing it to 1 hour 10 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to do any changes there. And once you're done, click on Save Changes. And then I'm going back to the attendance. So in the attendance, it's refreshed. In the attendance, as you can see, the overtimes and all is 1 hour 15 minutes. If you take the OT attendances also, there you can find overtimes like 1 hour 15 minutes, 4 hours and all. So there is nothing like less than 1 hour 10 minutes or 1 hour 15 minutes. So the minimum time or minimum overtime should be 1 hour 10 minutes for us to approve. Okay, above that, minimum that much and above that. Okay, so once you accept it, that is, you have the option to approve it, right? So only those attendance will be approved. Okay, so here you have the attendance under OT, and under the settings, that is the under the attendance breakpoint, we have one more thing, which is do not auto validate attendance if an employee works more than this amount of duration. Okay, so that is also a condition. We've talked about it earlier, so I'm not talking much about it. So that's it. Okay, I hope that is clear. We have our hour account. So you can see the hour account over here. And if you just click on that, you will have the details of the employee, the hour account, and the overtimes. Okay, that is the, of each month, how many hours they have worked. That details can be found here. So if you just take a look at each of these employees, let's take any one of the employee. So you have Alexander Kim. So on the month of June, on the year 2023, he have worked for 8 hours, and the overtime which he worked is displayed over here. Okay, so corresponding to each employee for different months, how many hours they have worked, that is displayed over here. So you can see for different for different employees, like for April, May, June, and so on, for each month, how many hours that particular person has worked will be displayed under the hour account. Not only his hour account, he'll also have his overtime next to that in the hour account section. Then you have the attendance activity. So if you just click on attendance activity, you can see the attendance activity over here. That is for each person, you have the attendance date, the clock in, clock out, which is the check-in, check-out, and the check-in date, or as well as the check-out date, which is displayed as in date and out date. And then you have the clock in and clock out over here. For each employee, the attendance date, the in date, the clock in, the clock out, and the out date will be displayed over here under the attendance activity. Then you have the late come early out section. So the person who's coming late and leaving early, such people or such employees' details will be displayed here under the late come or early out section. Okay, so if somebody is leaving early or somebody is coming late, such things will be noted and listed over here under the late come early out section. So that type will also be specified over here. So if you just take a look, you have Adam B. The type shows late come, and when he have left early, that is also shown here as early out. And that date, that clock in time, in date, clock out, out date, minimum hours and hours at work is displayed properly over here under the late come early out section. And then finally, you have the my attendance section. So where you can see your attendance. So currently I have logged in as Adam. So Adam's attendance details can be found under my attendances. Okay, so you can see your attendance details over here. If you want to revalidate any one of these, you can simply click on revalidate over here. So here you have details such as the date, the day, clock in date, clock out, out date, shift, work type, minimum hours at work, and overtime. So just click on revalidate. Okay, so this will be revalidated. Okay, and you have the option to revalidate all the things which is coming under your attendance section. So that's how you can easily manage the attendance. Hope it's clear for you all. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.